All right. Welcome. Hey, how's everybody doing? I am so full of good news right now. I'm here with my good friend and host, Omni. Want to say hello, Omni?
Hello, hello.
Hello. We've got a lot to smile about, folks, and I'm just going to jump right into it. We're doing the Q3 reports, the coin reports for the coins that we love and that we've been talking to. We haven't talked to all of them yet. And I'm actually going to have to take a break. I want to do Stellar Lumens and Ripple and Cardano tomorrow. And they've all got that. Cardano has an army. Ripple has an army. Jed started Ripple. You know, I mean, these guys are
So many.
legends, right?
So many.
Legends. And Zcash, we're going to have a Friday edition. I was gonna postpone until next week, just because I got to do these quarterlies, right? I got to get these done. Omni introduced me to someone who, and I'm not going to announce who it is or anything like that yet, but what would you say his AI skills are on a scale of 1 to 10?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Walk on water is pretty good, huh? Yeah, he's a fucking master. And so the really cool thing there, guys, is that means that the models that I have been trying to perfect on fair value, and you guys have taught me so much, like this journey. I'm going to tell you guys the whole journey in a minute, but this journey, you know, I tell you it's a scientific experiment. And what that means is that we can never prove anything, right, Omni? How does the scientific method work? What is it?
We keep doing things and you try different equations until you come up with a guesstimation of an answer about what could be possibly right.
Right, and you never say it for right. You can't say for sure because someone might come along and try your idea out and not be able to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. You have to be able to repeat it. You have to keep being able. So in my book, I pulled off the shelves because you guys perfected my models, and there's more to adoption. We found that of the 500 million people we were measuring as as adopters, they're really all speculators, and maybe 1 or 2%. Would you say that that's right? About like so what are we really measuring? And maybe we should measure two different things: the strength of the actual community and the actual usage of its wallet is one thing, because we want to improve it. And if we don't know where we are, we can't improve.
Yeah.
And then the overall. Okay, so that's a change, and that is a good thing. But this AI guy, he and I started talking for just a few minutes, and then we set the call for after this. And this one's only going to go an hour, and we're going to talk. But if he can work with us, I want him specifically to help me use AI the best way possible to get the best numbers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who doesn't want the best numbers?
If we don't have numbers, we have nothing. And that's the whole point of this podcast. So this is a good thing. Now, the other thing I learned is that a 1-hour podcast is really good, but you don't, a crowd attracts a crowd, and it might take you, an hour to get to 300 or 400. But if you can stay on for another hour, you're certainly going to get to 1,000. And if you could stay on for one more hour, and we did, thank you, Joel, and all those guys that stuck around from Digibyte and Dash for 3 hours. That was a long one. We should have killed it. And you can look at the tape and you can see where people drop off. So I'm sorry that I put you guys through that test with me. I was hoping that we'd have just this thing that went up to like 4,000 live and that. But there is a break off.
Yeah, there's always a metrical break off, and that's with almost all platforms.
So 2 hours from now on, and then they're going to be from 1 to 3. But the other thing is that there are some very specific people that really help me get this word out to you and get me started, or else maybe you would not have ever seen me. And one is Joel from Dash, no question. Huge shout out to Joel. And another is DB Crypto with a 0 and not an O. If you guys aren't following the Desert Links, Joel from Dash, and if you aren't following DB, that's David Bravo, or Delta Bravo rather, Crypto with a 0 and not an O, you should be.
DB's a legend.
A legend. Well, they're both legends.
Yeah.
Dash created the first DAO. That's about when Joel started. But Joel also has been living off crypto probably longer than anyone else. And I mean, no bank account.
DB gives anyone a platform to speak about things they want to speak about. And he has open forum spaces so anyone can come to these spaces and have educational or informational talks about whatever they're trying to learn or discuss.
Well, that's incredible. And are those on Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I'm not doing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's what I was going to say, is that I never expected this thing to be as popular as it is, and specifically with the group of people that it is. So when I share my analytics with you, it's because I feel that we're all in this together, and I want you guys to see what we're creating together. But I've also shared the metrics on the age. And what's the age group? Did you get a chance to look at that, Omni?
It was the older group of people mostly.
That's right. Right. So if you measure 18 to 24 like they do, typically with meme coins and that's like where all your people are. And if they're not there, they're up to 29, from 25 to 29.
Yeah.
We've got almost none. It's like 1.81% or something stupidly small right now that are 18 to 24. They're not interested in what we're saying because we're giving real numbers. And the people in the next group from 20, they're a little bit of a group, like 30 or something. But then if you look at the next group into the 40s and 50s and 60s, the 40s and 50s are about as strong as those 24 to 29s. So like 75% is just in that slot right there. And that is unusual for crypto.
Yep.
Right? So what would you think would be the reasons for that?
I don't know, man. I think you're probably just reaching a demographically different audience due to the potential for what these tokens can turn into. And I mean, I look at different currencies. I look at cryptocurrency.
He looks at cryptocurrency and he goes and he vanishes on us. You came back. You cut out.
Sorry about that.
You cut out after I look at cryptocurrency as.
I look at cryptocurrency as something that can eventually be tied to something, whether it be a business, whether it be a use case, whether it be a foundation. And that's the way I typically view coins. I don't look at charts and things like I do, but not for specific reasons. I don't trade coins. I'll look at them just to see the ups and downs and the cycles of them, and that's always the interest to me.
Yeah. Well, so DB Crypto, he gave me a chance. He taught me, and Joel taught me about adoption specifically, so that I have to change that. Those two guys are the guys. They're talking about what is real usage. Joel's real usage, right?
Yeah. Like in Multiverse, there's a very real use case. Vero, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they've been working at like concerts and all these other big gigs to actually like have ticketing on crypto and through Multiverse. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that's already
like a Ticketmaster, but on Multiverse, like a StubHub.
No, it's just direct through them. So like they're able to. That would be dope, having a Ticketmaster-esque thing on Multiverse, because really this scale that could provide, where anyone's able to pay in any type of currency.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Omni, that'd be so cool. Okay, well, before I get off of it again, I want to say, DB Crypto and Joel of Dash gave me a break on their show, and it let me get a megaphone, so to speak, and that allowed me to reach more people. As a result of this, I'm not going to have my show at 1 to 3 on days they have theirs 1 to 3. And I don't know what their schedule is, but out of respect to them, and guys, I like 1 to 3. It's a good time for me. I've done noon to 2. That still cuts into theirs. But they only do it 2 days of the week. And out of respect to these guys, because first of all, I love Dash. And second of all, I love Joel and DB for giving me a break. And like you just said, DB gives a lot of people breaks. And I know Joel does too. He is always giving people a platform.
Yeah, the whole space is about community recognition, really.
So I'm going to get back to you guys on what the schedule is. I put it up. I thought, it's simple. I'm not going to do the Wednesday mornings anymore. So it's just going to be Monday through Friday and Sunday from 1 to 3. But I'm going to look. I don't want to say it's 1 to 3 because I think one of the days it might be from 11 to 1. I don't know. But I'm going to look, and I'm going to attend those spaces and listen and learn, because that's the best thing you can do at those spaces that they do. They always have interesting people. They always have interesting topics. It's just interesting people show up and or take the mic. I mean, it's excellent. And so I'm going to recommend that everybody goes to those and supports them and follows them. And thanks, guys. And I will have a Monday through Friday still and Sunday, right? But something I learned. So a few things. I'm just, right now, what I'm really doing is just letting you guys know what I learned. Because if we're going to work together and I'm going to be kind of the hub that everybody feeds into, and then I'm going to regurgitate it to everybody, we have to...
you got to follow everyone else, too. The community is all about connections, and the more connections you can have and spread and just kind of, distribute knowledge to people, it helps.
And if anybody wants a list of really cool people to follow, look at the people I follow. The people that I follow on this Digital Gold account, those are all real people. They have real accounts, and they share, which is really important, or they post themselves, and both are really important. And so if you want really great people to follow that are really engaging people and really smart people, just go look at Digital Gold Talk and see who I'm following. Shout out to all of you that I'm following. You guys are rock stars. Okay, so let me just say that and then we're going to get back to everything else. But I just want to say, guys, we're not going to have the format Monday to Friday and Sunday because I don't want to interfere with DB and Joel. I have way too much respect for them. And so whatever days, hours they're doing Tuesday and Thursday, everybody just know that I'm either going to be just before theirs. If theirs is a later in the day, I don't want to start mine at 3 and go to 5. But if they have an 11 to 1, I'll do mine from, mine doesn't interfere. If they're doing from 1 to 3, I'm going to do before theirs. Okay, but I'll let you guys know. And shout out to those guys again. And as I get into these things, understand that for crypto to get to the masses, which is what DB and Joel have really taught me, I went thinking just numbers. Guys, we have to have a way for everyone to use this in commerce.
Yeah.
Sure. Everything cool out there?
A knife.
Right on, a knife. Good luck. I don't have a
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, you know where. Paring knife. Use a paring knife from the kitchen. Sorry, guys. Nephews are in town now. So everybody sharing everything is what's really, really important. If you find one, that'll work. Be careful carrying it. Don't run with it. So when we get all this feedback, guys, we can then all share it and all understand and make things better. I did that. I took time to talk to all these different communities. And in total, there was a huge, huge outpouring of love for these. Lots of people shared it, which is the most important thing to get the word out, right? But the views, the actual views, tens of thousands of views this week, guys. Tens of thousands this last week. And you're talking about we went from thousands the week before to tens of thousands, right? Just incredible, just incredible. So why is it hitting home, and why is it hitting home with this specific age group? And it's because we are finally looking at this as adults and putting real value. The crypto fair value model that the senators and I embrace and are going to promote nationwide, and that we're promoting to each of these communities, is sort of like a Rosetta Stone. It's teaching people the language of value for these coins. And up to this point, it's been traded on FOMO and FUD. The better that we can get the numbers, the more exact we can get with the numbers, the more we're going to get investors believing and understanding this and feeling safe and being safer anyway, right? The reason we're not going after the entire market, and why we have picked up some new coins but have dropped Ethereum this week, but picked up Vertcoin and EGLD, eGold, and picked up Vertcoin, so Vertpeer and eGold, is because we look at honesty and being look, crypto is dishonest, and there's rugs and all of this, and that's one thing.
Oh, yeah.
But what we learned, and you taught me, and every other took me to, was that maybe perhaps the crashes in 17, this is something we learned this week, maybe the crashes in 17 and 21 were actually, we were growing too fast. They weren't in control. And so just like GameStop, phantom coins were created on Ethereum possibly. I'm not making nobody sue me. This is just stuff I heard. I'm just repeating what I heard in this grand experiment. No financial advice either, ever. Okay. But like, maybe paper coins were made over here that allowed them to just trade them and cause volume crash, but those coins weren't really there. They didn't really have them to sell or short sell. Maybe that.
Yeah. No, that 100% has happened. And I mean, like,
that was interesting. We learned that this last week and a half.
Yeah. If you know And it was easier back in the day because they've gotten a lot smarter with trying to hide it, is what you have to understand.
Mm-hmm.
On FTX back in the day, when I was tracking it very heavily and on the site more often, there was blue chips that were tokenized securities. Like many blue chip securities that are on the open stock market that are like, $1,000 a share or whatever. Plus, in some cases, were tokenized in these thousands, if not millions, of tokenized securities. And I looked at the trading volume of some of these back in the day, and it's got removed. You can't find it anymore because either the SEC or one of those agencies, when they took down FTX, took down their servers, and all that stuff is gone. You just cannot find it. And then the ones that are reporting on it through the APIs, because there's no longer a server running the API, they just don't get any of the info on it, so they've taken most of that data and scrapped it. That's what I mean about data deletion being a problem sometimes.
Now, you told me on Multiverse, this is another thing I learned this week, Multiverse. It already has an exchange. Let me just say this out right, and then I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I think I learned this week.
Yep.
We know that transactions and transaction value, and we talked about it, are things you really just can't trust on these exchanges because there's too many wash trading, and now you're talking about this Ethereum thing and all this, right? You can't really trust it. And we don't know what real adoption numbers are because not everyone, like nobody is sharing their Merkle trade. So we just don't know what the real adoption numbers are. But there is an exchange already on Multiverse. Let me finish because I know you're going to jump in and want to answer this. There is right now on Multiverse, EGLD, who we met, has an exchange that right now DGB could be on. Right now Dash could be on. Right now all these coins could be on. And we'd know real transaction value and everything, and it's legit, and there aren't wash trades, and there's no bullshit. It's real. Is that correct?
Yeah, the X exchange.
So it exists?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the cost for these coins to get on there? Is it pretty crazy? Like these
it's not too crazy at all, really. It's not those prices at all. You'd have to talk to the guys at X Exchange and Multiverse in general.
5 to 20,000 at most.
I don't know the numbers.
Those are shitty exchanges.
I don't.
We just gonna.
I don't know those numbers. Okay, but let's put it this way: on X Exchange, you can. There's already Bitcoin. There's already Ethereum. If you want to swap off into the native tokens and other such things, like it's a way for people to back check things. If you
is it direct wallet or are there tokens? How does the exchange work?
It's direct on wallet, so you can access it through your wallet through an app in the wallet, and it's just basically an app within an app, and it takes you to the exchange.
Walk us through it. I want to trade right now. I want to trade some Digibyte for some Bells coin.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that is on there.
Well, no. Pretend you just said they could be, so I'm not worried if they are. If they could be, then we'll get them on, right? So that's the point. So just say they are, because
here, let me.
They either can be or they can't, and if they can, then we'll get them on. And if there's not a great expense, that's even better. And I don't need to know the cost right now, just the fact that for sure they can without all the bullshit, and there won't be wash trades. They're a legitimate organization. How do we know there aren't wash trades?
Well, everything's hosted live on thing, and you can basically see the transactions go by the second if you use the Explorer. Like if you open up your browser.
How do you know those transactions are wash versus real?
Because you can track it back to the literal named address.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to get. So audience, did you hear that? So that means that we can get Bells Coin and Digibyte and Dash and Zach, although I don't think they're having any problems. Do you see them? They ran in 90.
Here, dude.
Oh, Zach. But we could get all these coins that we're working with, this whole self-regulating organization. We could get all these coins listed there, and they can trade. And let me just repeat, because I want to make sure I heard what you said. Let's say I have a native Digibyte wallet, which I do, and I want to trade it online for some Zach, and you have Zach. And so you're saying through Multiverse X, we can trade from our wallet to wallet, and there's just going to be a little transaction fee here, but there's no sex, and everything is
yeah.
Do you guys hear that? Everybody out there?
Yeah, like the legitimacy of this is if they are willing to do a little bit of API work, their wallets could be tied directly into X Portal And it would be, you have your X-Portal account, you have your whatever account, and you can select between the two that you want to trade on. So if you have F accounts, they'll all load up into that if you allow the APIs to do so. So you can easily keep track of all your different accounts in one area.
Okay. So, guys, again, I want to say that...
And right now, there are 6,244 different tokens.
Can you share your screen? Can you share?
I don't know how to do that through here.
I don't either. I know, I suck.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, here. This is the Explorer, though.
Okay. Let me add to the stage. Okay, is everybody looking? Explain to me, what are we looking at in the first place? Where could anybody else go and go to this exchange?
You can go to Explorer up here, .multiverse.com/tokens. Well, this is their tokens page, and it'll tell you all the different tokens that are on Multiverse. And there's probably a lot you don't recognize, but there's probably some you do, right? And a lot of these are created by communities within the Multiverse community, and it's a very vibrant community with a lot of good people. And it's just bringing everyone to a place where we can all trade in a way that it's not as difficult. We're centralized by these exchanges, because I find when you trade on Multiverse, you get a better price for tokens, typically. Like, because you're not dealing with all the fees these centralized exchanges are charging you. You're not dealing with...
Well, tell us about all that. How much? What do they charge? What do they charge? Like a typical fee if I'm charged at Kraken or Coinbase or any of those. We all know they're expensive.
Okay, so let's see. These are some transactions that have happened recently. Let's see. So yeah, as you like, I'm trying not to show too much personal information, but this went to an exchange, as you can see. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, this went to an exchange.
Okay.
So whatever address this was,
okay,
sent some stuff to an exchange. He sent some AIVX, and you can see that all on chain. And if there's ways to filter it, if you know what you're doing, and just see different token movements, and this is all tracked within. So, you know.
All right. Well, it seems pretty obvious to me that if we have...
Like, there's 9 million accounts. I would say out of those 9 million accounts, here's the breakdown on most of those users. Like, there's the staking module that holds 14 million. There's the Binance exchange that holds 4. There's an exchange for Upbit, BitBuy, another Binance wallet.
Yeah.
Binance Crypto, Kraken.
Okay, cool. We've seen enough. We've seen enough. I'll get rid of your screen there. So, guys, we found all this week. We went into this week not knowing. I didn't know. I don't think Bitcoin Cash or any of those guys. We were talking about Bitcoin Cash and Digibyte. We went into the week and we didn't realize that Jared was going to launch this brilliant thing called the DigiDollar. And the DigiDollar is,
right.
I think it's going to be the stable coin. We're going to talk about that with the senators on Sunday about having Mark Craft legislation.
You could have multiple stable coins is
right.
what you got to understand.
Well, what we got out of that was that, let's say I want to lock up Bitcoin Cash in my own wallet, and I'm the banker and I'm the lender. You would be able to make digit dollars. They're based on Digibyte. Digit dollars, though, in a native wallet is what I'm understanding. Yeah. I want you to explain this. And now you can spend them as dollars, and they're staying as dollars. What about your coins you locked up? Yeah, you locked them up for like 3 years. Well, do I owe like that many, bells that I locked up, or Bitcoin Cash in this case? No, you owe the dollar amount on those. So if the dollar value keeps dropping and these keep going up in value, then 3 years later, when you have to pay back that loan...
In theory, you could do a locking contract like that, yeah.
Okay, well, you can do that too on yours.
No, you can do it on a lot of different tokens like that. But, yeah.
What I'm saying is that Bitcoin Cash could then get locked up right now, as quick as the code could be written, right, around DigiDollar. And if this becomes I think this is maybe one of, there are two super exciting things that I think come from this week. Talking to Zcash, hearing from Bitcoin Cash, hearing from Dashgen, hearing from Digibyte, hearing from Bells. Just we heard from a lot of different people in the last 10 days. And right, and we learned from everybody. And what I came away with was, yes, the Digital Gold Foundation has become a self-regulating organization with senators on board. You can look at the team page, that we're all about policy and we're all about industry standards. And those industry standards could start around the DigiDollar if these communities could all come together and benefit from it, because their coins are getting locked up in their own native wallets. And I think that the DGB team could help them. I'm talking out of turn here because I don't know, but I presume. And why wouldn't that be great? And so now people are now taking more coins out of their circulation, but being able to spend right now while not having to spend the coins. You get, your daughter gets hit by a car and you need to come up with 20 grand, and where else are you going to do but sell your, name the coin? What if you could just lock that up, because it's going to go up in value, but get some DigiDollars right now that are spendable, tradable as dollars, and then you can go take care of your problem. And then 3 years later, when things are better and these prices are higher or whatever the lockup period, come. Now, I don't know that's how it works exactly, my understanding. Okay. That's good for everybody.
There's a lot of different ways that can be done, and it can be it's mostly down to the smart contract on how it's written.
But that's the first policy that we could come together as a self-regulating organization and be a part of. And I've got some other news that I was told just before this call. In fact, that's why I was late for this call. And that's why I started the call with such a smile. Mm-hmm. And if you knew who the message was from and what it means, and the fact that we're going to take this, what we're going to do, oh my goodness, oh my God. I can't wait till I can tell you guys this, because there's some shooting big news. But the first, and it's around policy and that, but around this, we're hoping, I'm not going to say we're going to get Jared, but we've asked him, and we've asked the top people in Digibyte to join us with the senators, talking about how we write policy, how Mark does. He's still in Arizona. He's passed two different, as House and as a senator.
Yeah.
Okay. Make it legal tender, guys. That's the first thing we want to do, is we want to make DigiDollar legal tender and make that the first, and make it in Arizona and get it done. And I think we'll have a different governor in 26. I don't think Hobbs will get to take the election by force twice. And so the other thing that I want to do is and I'm setting up right now to talk with people at the highest level of the Zcash community and have them on the following Sunday. And I'm not going to say who, but I think that it looks good. And the meeting would be about privacy coins. Specifically, Zcash is the leader, in my opinion. And therefore, a lot of other people are using Zcash, code or ideas, I don't know what, but they're using Zcash's stuff. So why don't we all use Zcash's stuff in our coins? But let's set a policy around it so that there are laws around it saying, for instance, that it can be spent and that it can be on exchanges or this and that. Those are two things that came out of this last 10 days. Mm-hmm. That's spectacular. So if we can start now, just that quick.
I mean, we don't even, to an extent, I understand where you're getting at with stating where certain sexes have to allow it on exchanges, but
no. Follow, no. If I was,
am I misfollowing you?
I was unclear. Yeah. If I was unclear, let me be really clear. There are two things that we're trying to do here. We've got two things, right? We've got a self-regulating organization, which is a consortium of coins that are sharing the best ideas and practices, and each one of their practices eventually, hopefully, being adopted by everybody, so that we're all getting stronger, because we're going up. But here's the other side of it is, we're not focused on the meme coin people. They're bringing people in the market in their own way.
Meme coins are fun once in a while if you don't get too into them, in my personal opinion. And again, meme coins can be utilized in a lot of different ways from my opinion of them, where they could be used to help fund wildlife research and things like that. But that's just my understanding, because they have unlimited
cash. What we cover. We cover L1 because I've got
cover L1 in real assets.
So let me be clear on me. What I'm talking about here specifically is that we do L1 current cryptocurrencies prior to 2018. And that's all we care about, because we're focused on a fund, and I'm going to get to that. So let me be clear here. There's two things.
Yeah.
There is the policy aspect, and there's the self-regulating organization that uses best practices to go after the 500 million people that as DB Crypto with a 0 said, and the Desert Links Joel said, we don't have real adoption of these coins when only 1 to 2% are using it for their intended purposes. Therefore,
Exactly.
that has to be the focus. And so one of the other things that came out of this week is that why everyone try to stay in their silo and make your own native wallet to your native coin and then do these atomic swaps, and you're trying so hard, and maybe some of it's good, but when it comes to the merchant, it's bumping up against a wall. But
yeah, it just doesn't matter.
But someone said what you really do, and I can't remember who was on the call that said it, you look at the name on the card reader at the store, and you go to them, and you ask them whether, right, it was Digibyte? Okay, and you ask,
no, I think that's Bell's, actually.
Was it Bell's?
I think that might have been Bell's. It was one of the two.
Okay, if it was Bell's, it would have been Luke or Yar, who were on the call Wednesday, but both brilliant people. I have so much respect and admiration for them. So we figured out, somebody did, they told us, that you go to the maker of the card reader that takes Apple Pay or Venmo or whatever, and you say, do you have an API that we could also allow? And then if we as a group can come up with an industry standard of how all of our wallets are built with this API in it, so that no matter, you can go and you can, with your EGLD or with your Bells or with your Dash or Digibyte or BCH or Zap.
No, I agree with building that. Like, I'm
from 500 million, with only 5 million being users, we try and move 5 million, because I don't care about the Wall Street guys coming in. They're improving the market. I don't care about the meme coin people. They're improving the market. But how do we get to 500 million? And we do it through simple, easy use. That's another thing we learned this time.
You should be able to easily pay with your coffee or lunch or breakfast.
User interface.
Whatever you have currency in.
Everyone thought user interface on the call was really the reason that we don't have mass adoption yet. Now, speaking of mass adoption, it's 135, and we have about 150 people, which is great because we don't literally have any other coin. We invited no coin communities. So you guys are just watching us talk about what happened. So welcome and thank you. We can get more people to understand what we learned in the last 10 days that want to watch live right now. If you lovely 154 people would just repost. Just repost, and it takes 2 seconds. If you want to hit quote instead of repost, like repost quote, and then you can say interesting conversation, join us, or something like that, and send it out. Likes and comments are also great, and if you have comments, I always answer all the comments that I can until I will be able to at some point. So let's see, and there are comments there, aren't there? Yeah, Jose, thank you for reposting the stream, and Rev, thank you for reposting the stream, guys. I thank you. That's great. Okay, so shout out to
be tied to X user crypto. Actually, yeah, in theory, you could use the adding from it, because Multiverse is very unique in their creation of crypto addresses, where they already use the @ symbol. And the cool part about that is there's already, 1 minute, let me see if I can, it's Pulsar. Pulsar and X work through API to be able to send money to basically anyone on Multiverse, just with an @ symbol and tagging. It's actually pretty revolutionary what they've been working on with that, because I remember doing that back a couple months ago just to share coffee money with friends.
Okay, well, I think that, let me think if there's anything else that we learned this week that was just so great. You know, I guess it all comes down to that.
Sorry, Jose's comment got me there.
Oh, that's okay. No, and Jose, I'm sorry I skipped it. I saw you and I read repost, and I was like, shout out, and then I looked away and you had a question. And shout out to Jose Trejo, by the way. Shout out to Jose Trejo. Like, that man might be the hardest working man in crypto. I see your posts, dude, like all the time through my feed, and they're all interesting, and they're all just fantastic. Like, kudos, bro. Kudos. Thank you for that content. It's amazing. And thanks for sharing the posts so often. I appreciate that. So let me just summarize if I can, and then I want to get down to numbers, because I've only got 20 minutes left for this entire call. I'm not going to do a big, long 2-hour call.
Yeah, that's good, dude.
And so from now on, We're not going to interrupt DB Crypto and Joelle's podcast. I want everyone else to instead go there on Tuesdays and Thursdays during that time period. And we're going to just look for time before them or after them. I do like doing a daily. It's actually a lot of fun, and there's so much learning. And I actually told my ex, I could just do this the rest of my life, just sit and meet and talk to interesting people. But to summarize, we learned that all of these communities can work together. We can work with our senators and House members to create legislation. We're going to start that this Sunday, and we're going to do next Sunday. This Sunday is going to be all about DigiDollar and Digibyte, and next Sunday is going to be all about Zcash, privacy, and how do we get laws that work around those, and then how do we get their technology to become the industry standard amongst our group of coins that want to participate in this. And if you do and want to, then we take the best things of each one and we work together to make each one stronger. And with DigiDollar, Bitcoin Cash mentioned that, they could stake Bitcoin Cash. And you could, in a sense, and use dollars now. So it's not.
Yeah, and they could use liquid staking through bridging services, or they could do it on their own if they wanted. They could do liquid staking with like any of the other coins from Multiverse just to add liquidity to each pool. And that's the reality of all these coins is if they set up liquid staking,
they'd be insane.
Yeah, if they could set up liquid staking for all of their different tokens, it would allow them all to do the same thing.
Amazing. See, and I didn't even know Multiverse existed. And I could never.
Most people don't. It is the unknown.
Millions, and they've got millions of users. How do I not know it exists? Right?
Because it is a well-kept secret by the industry.
Why keep it a secret?
Because it's amazing.
It's like you've got a ski hill in Colorado, and it's an old mining town, and you don't want it to go from $300 a month rent, dude. I remember.
Yeah, something like that. But
I remember when I got
in my opinion, it's arguably one of the most undervalued technologies on the market because it has so much use case and is already very on its way to do things. Like if you want, look up Columbia staking.
Okay, I'm not going to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to cut you off. I've got 20 minutes, guys, and I really am going to jump. I'm really going to. All right. Okay, so going forward, what we've learned from this last week is 10 days is that every single coin community embraced the idea of crypto fair value. And they all understood it. And it's simple to understand. And it's like one of those things, you don't see it, and then once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's why we found that our population is almost all adults that have left mom's basement and actually make a living. And it turns out it's a big part of the boomers and the Gen Xers that have all the money. And so this is the group of people that don't want to get rugged. They don't want to play these hype games anymore. No more crypto pumps. We're going to make millions. They want to understand if there's anything left to make money on that is of value and is safe. And we pointed out how it can be done, and people have embraced that. So appreciate that. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me say this. We're going to have Sunday with the senators. Every Sunday, we're going to have a different group of House members. Oh, buddy, it's going to be so good. We're going to have a different set of House members and senators and a coin community's leaders. That's what we want. This is not sit down with a bunch of community guys that are keeping the thing running and the engineers that are keeping it running. I want to sit down with the founders. I want to sit down with the
That's hard to get.
Mark Andreessen said it best. He said the person who writes it down he said if they buy a company or they're about to in the company, they'll be sitting around a table, and if there's a really well-written business plan and it's really easy to understand and everything.
Yeah, you look at the white papers.
He'll say, who wrote this? And he says he'll go sit down with him, and that's the guy. Because he says the guy that can take a big idea and write it down and go, that's the guy. So Jared Tate, I want Jared Tate here. I would love to have Zuko here for these next year. I'm not saying I will. Have I asked? Of course I've asked. Are there other people than them that we're going to get here and have confirmed? Yes. Definitely. But we want those guys, right? Because they invented it, and I want to talk to the inventors. Oh, we do have some. Well, I'm not going to say anything. Okay. So the Sundays with the senators should become a big growing thing that as we reach out and get senators and House members in all 50 states and 5 territories that are into crypto to learn this, go back and then start teaching their treasurer in their states, legislatures about what is crypto, how is it valued, what's it worth. Okay, if they can do that and we teach them this is literally groundbreaking and seismically changing things. Okay.
Yes.
And if we start with Zcash and that, because I think everybody agrees that this is good, and we go there. Okay, so that's our agenda. And going forward, having roundups where we have 3 groups on, I like it, but maybe Steve was right from yesterday's call that he was afraid that there would be 10, 15 people in the post or in the thing, and it'd just be so noisy. First of all, it wasn't noisy, and they've all been super respectful. But on the other hand, too, he's right. That's a lot of people. And Steve says he'll come back anytime, and that's great. And welcome back, Steve, when you do. And we've had some just legends on there, like Colin yesterday, who's just been in it forever, just brilliant genius. You're going to learn some things. But I want those people to have time to speak, and I only want to do 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So we're never going to have more than 6 guests. And we're never going to do more than 2 coins. And those are going to be how the program's done. And we're never going to do on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 to 3 if that's when DB Crypto and Joel are doing theirs. We're going to go right before them. If there's a later show, we're going to go right after them if they have an early show, and I'll post that. Okay. I want you guys to be really clear on some stuff because some stuff came up, and I'm disappointed that it came up, but, it happens. And when it happens, you just face it head on and you take it on. Someone accused me of doing this as a way to get my own cryptocurrency into the hands of everybody, because I do have a cryptocurrency that was built for me by the Blackcoin team over the last 4 years up to January, and then I kind of paused it. And so I want to give a shout out to everybody that likes that coin, and I think there's a way to use it as a way to fund actually the whole community. I really actually do, because what we also found out is that all of these communities are broke. Even Dash would like more money than what they're making with their depressed coin price. Depressed not by their fault, and they would make lots more if it went to the fair value, and we figured that out on the call. But I think that we could use it for that. But when somebody calls me out on it and says that I'm being snarky, I want you to understand a few things. The reason that Roel Campos, Elon Musk's lawyer, you can look him up, Hughes Hubbard and Reed, he's a former attorney there. He says he's their crypto guy if you read his resume. The reason that he's been with me and is in he owns a cattle business with me and my wife, ex-wife as well, has a small stake in that. The reason that he took me as a client, the reason that the people that have been around me, around my current team, there's 12 of them, they've been with me for like 4 years. Some of them much longer. Some of these people have been with me 15 and now going on 16 years, and these are senators and House members. Roel has been my buddy. He's my buddy. We send hearts to each other and say, love you, bro, to each other, right? And he's been my bro since 17, right? So Bitcoin Latina happened, and I worked with Nick Szabo on that a little bit as an advisor. He was a paid advisor. And I figured out how to bank the unbanked by simply using a QR code and going to the credit unions and banks, and I would have an account since they don't have ID, but all students, 85%, have mobile phones. We wouldn't necessarily have used crypto, now it could, but at the time in 17, we were way ahead of point of sales. And so my idea was that just they would deposit into this account for Bitcoin Latino, and then they could just go spend that account, but they'd really be spending my money. And you can put as much money as you want in Mexico, back of a truck without an ID, so they could deposit it in the account. And right there, snap a QR, and now they've got that much spendable at the local bodega or whatever. And so I was working on this, and I really loved it. And I got rugged and I'm not going to call names because I don't want drama, but I got rugged by the whole group that was around me. And Roel lost all the value in his coins because he had coins. I lost all mine. My mom and dad did, my cousins, I had everybody. I was so excited because it went live and it was like 450 million. We did like 350,000 or 450,000 in the first 24 hours, and I stopped it because I didn't want any more money coming in. I just needed to donate coins so I could go pay Roel and those guys. And so we did this, and it was just heartbreaking. $450 million value, $20 coin. I actually, in those days, had 10% of that. I would have had $45 million. We thought it was going to go to billions. Maybe it could have. And I got rugged, and we all got rugged. And then when I found that it was my own people rugging me, and it was on BitShares, and I could take the coins back, my dev told me, I did. I took their coins back because they'd gotten 4 years of coins to do 4 years of work up front because they had trusted me. I trusted them, right? I never trust anybody, right? And as soon as it went live at that price, they just couldn't sell us fast enough. And they fucked the whole community. All the miners, I went to the miners. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're destroying the price. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's you guys. Because remember, on BitShares, you could literally trace it back to the wallet address. And so they knew that they were like moving things around to anonymous addresses. They showed me this and I took the coins back. And then they went online and said, I took their coins and broke the laws of the crypto hills and blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, fine. It's open source code. It's out there. You guys go. Take it. You guys do whatever you want with it. I'm dead. I'm burning what I've got. Everything gone, right? And I wrote, crypto is dead. That's still out there on Medium. And I was just heartbroken. And by the way, they came to me and said that if I turned over all the coins, they'd be okay. And they sent a bot army to attack me. And they started saying the most horrible things about gangbanging my wife and that she'd enjoy it and all this. Yeah, these guys, my team, right? Not the team I have now. But that truly happened. And you know, that's crypto, right? And so this legacy lives on. It does. Sure. Why not? It's the internet. It lives forever. Did I go and put my own shit up there? No, I just said crypto's dead, and I might have called those guys out in my doc. I don't know. But the point is that Roel's still with me. He's still my buddy. Because, as he said, I stay between the bright yellow lines. I don't fuck around. You know that I've got an enhancement so scary. You can't do that if you're a criminal. Yeah, I got an FBI background check, but it means I can just walk in anywhere and get a gun. Just right now, give me a gun. Because I have had FBI background checks, right? I've whistleblown to the FBI on bad crypto scammers, right? I have done that. I worked with them in D.C. and Southern District of New York FBI office and in Boise's FBI office. Turned over my phone, let them take everything off my Discord and Signal and everything, trying to stop these bastards who were just stealing people blind, drugging them back in the day, 2017. Okay. The team that I have around me, senators and House members, the reason I do Sundays with the senators is because those are my homeboys. I've helped them win elections, and these are honorable, great men. Marv Hagedorn ran the Veterans Affairs Office for the state of Idaho at the request of the governor after he served as a senator and as a House member. And in the Navy, he was a secret squirrel guy, and he's got encryption patents back in the day, okay? Brilliant genius of a guy, right? And he's my friend, and he hasn't left me. We're heading towards 16 years. I met him in 2010, okay? Jan Sal Esquivel, Oregon, they're on the team. You can see their faces on the team page, okay? Yeah, I've known them like 16 years. They're like family to me. Sal was a House rep when I met him, and then he became a senator, and then they retired, okay? Bill Ream down in New Mexico, William Ream, just retired from the House after serving, and he was a law enforcement guy. He was a cop. Before he retired from that. That's my homeboy. He's on the team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lee Perry, county commissioner now, I think right now, but he was a sheriff, right? Keeping people safe. Might have been highway patrol, but I think he was sheriff in Utah. And before that, he was a House rep. That's when I met him. And all the people that he introduced me to, and I'd sit with him on the floor of the House in Utah as a guest. That was fun. Okay. These are my homeboys. Okay. I can go on. I can just keep listing. I can list 150 of my homeboys across the country. Now, they're not homeboys the same way that they're homeboys to the senators and the House members, because the senator and the House members were part of the fraternity. I wasn't part of the fraternity. You know how that works. They've got their own secret handshake. But what that means is that they then give us entree to every single fraternity member, past and present, in every one of the states and territories. Hello. Ding, 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 ring that fucking bell. Okay? And something that I can't announce today that happened today is going to put us nationwide almost instantly. And I'm not going to tell you about it yet, but it has happened. It just hasn't been announced. And I will not dishonor that person who shared that with me just before this call. So we've got this made in the shade. We can get into the legislatures and we can teach them, what is crypto? Why does it have any value? What is that value? How can you track it? Are the treasuries going to get in? I already sat down with the treasurer, Julie Ellsworth, who's a friend, who, by the way, was one of my first 10 clients probably in the state capitol in Idaho, like Marv was. She might have even introduced me to Marv. Shout out to Julie. She's now the treasurer, and she's managing $11 billion. $11 billion. So to put 1% in, that's $110 million. Okay? She's not going to fuck around with that. Not ever. Not ever. There's going to be no money going into crypto. But interestingly, on my call with Senator Hagedorn, Marv, last week, you remember he said that there's an issue where when someone dies, if they have crypto, the state doesn't know what to do with it. Let's just start with that. So we're not going to pass legislation that is going to allow people the Treasury to buy crypto because they don't know what it is. They don't know how much it's worth or when they should buy or sell it. In fact, when they have assets on the books that they've seized in a drug bust or something, they don't know what to do with that. It might just sit on a hard drive on a desk. Might. And somebody might just steal it and they wouldn't know it's gone maybe. I'm not saying that, but it might. I don't know. Because there's nothing in place. There's no like, okay, when this comes in, you do this, you do this, you do this. But they have it for seized money, and they have it for seized, like, let's say that somebody dies and they have no will and they have no family that can be found within a certain amount of time when they put it up there and they've got their assets. If it's money, they know what to do with money. If they've got boats and assets, they sell those until they have money. And when it's all money, then they give it away to education, they give it away to veterans, they give it away to homeless people, to old folks' homes. But there's ways to improve the communities with that money. And that's what it's used for. But it's not used for the state to decide to, like there's already a known purpose for it, so they can't fight over it later or spend it and just be waiting for it, right? There's a known thing, but not for crypto. So why don't we start with baby steps? Kick a clod, as we talked about on the Sunday podcast with the senator. We start with something that's just easy because, as he said, it's sitting on their desk and they don't know what to do with it and they'd like to pass it on to someone else. Great. The foundation and this other organization that we're going to be talking with could help as well. So, and the senators and all these people. So just imagine that we have 3 pieces of policy that as a group we push forward. And those are a digidollar that we all, as an industry standard, we get behind. Zcash, ZEC, the privacy experts, and we all get behind that and make an industry standard. And maybe we help them with their problem of what is crypto? Why does it have any value? What is that value? And when they know those things, they can then decide to sell it or hold on to it, but most likely they'll sell it, and then they'll put it to good use so everybody wins. So we're going to teach this. This isn't, are you maybe going to do this? No, fuck no. Like I just said, like we're doing this already. We're already doing this. The meetings are rolling, bro. Like we're rolling. Okay? This is happening. Now, there's another side to this. Okay? We came up with all of this because I had a coin. That's what I want to talk about. Okay? I just told you what I'm doing and what I built. And I built this not yesterday, guys. I built this since 2008. And then we launched in 2010. My dad was in software since 67. We launched this thing that would allow them to communicate with their constituents so that they could really hear from their constituents as representatives what they want, and as representative government, that's what we want. And then they would be representatives knowing exactly, and they could show them bills, put it into easy terms. We got that thing ready to go. John Billingsley was the chairman down in New Mexico. It was ready to go. It was in every county. It was going up to the Republican National Committee, the RNC, and they were going to be able to, depending on hierarchy, push messages down like this out to constituents or just to the heads or whatever, or to just these or just those with button clicks and through websites and everything. And we had set it all up. And this is before Wix and almost. My dad had built it. And they shut us down because they didn't want anybody touching the database and anything except them, and that's fine. I'm telling you this because I'm such a fucking straight shooter that my whole posse is state, House, and Senate members and former SEC commissioners and lawyers. Okay? That's who I am. Okay? Do I own any of these coins that I'm talking about? Not one. Not one. Why? Because I don't want to get fucked like Dan Dorfman. Well, he was actually screwing people, and he'd buy something and then he'd hype it on, CNBC and at Barron's Sunday edition, and then he'd sell into that. They were his exit liquidity, and he got caught. Okay? I have no coins. What am I going to do? With the senators, I'm going to create a fund. It's $1 billion fund. We've already reached out to one multi-billion-dollar fund in Florida. I named it on my last podcast and asked them for $100 million to get that started. I told them, give me 2 weeks. I'm going to be back, and I think I can put a bow on this for you, and I'm going to tell you what it's all about. He doesn't know what it is, but he trusts me to have something if I'm going to message him on his personal cell phone. Okay. But where we're going to go get the money is from the money managers of the Gen X and the boomers. The money managers for them are in each of these states where we're going to have representatives and House members that know the whole lay of the land and everything. And we want this not to go to hedge funds and not to go to rich VCs and family offices.
Yeah.
We want the fund to be bought by the average people that have the money and want to get in on the next Bitcoin. Well, it's right in front of you. It's EGLD, it's GGB, it's Dash, it's Bells, it's Zach, it's Black. Sorry if I didn't mention all of you, okay? And those are all in a fund. You don't have to be an expert. All you have to do. And will these people trust it? Yes, because all my advisors are going to be House and Senate members from every damn state. If it's legal in our state to be seeded, then they're seeded. If not, then they'll be retired. Okay, so when I hear that people are concerned that some anonymous trolls had some shit to say, I'm not going to defend myself about that. I told you guys the story. If you don't like the story, fuck off. Go do something else. Don't let me take up any more cycles of your time. I don't really give a shit. I'm on a mission. Okay, number one. Number two, did I have a coin? Did I shut the door because somebody that I respect asked me this morning and said that he would no longer be able to support this project with his coin community, and he's going to remain nameless, Coin Community 2, unless I shut that site down and orphaned all those coin owners. And I said, you're asking me to orphan these people that still believe in this blockchain and that. And he's like, well, that's what I would do. And I was like, well, out of respect for you, and if I have to choose a side right now, and it's either having my own coin or abandoning them and making crypto a spending thing everywhere, then I will abandon it, and I'll probably have to go and figure out how much they put in and somehow track them down and pay them back. And I said all of this in this thread. And he said, I'm out of here, and just left the situation. Now, my first impulse was to be like, well, fuck that whole coin community then. Why would I work so hard if one of their leaders is going to talk shit to me like that? And not ask for instance, all of these people that have known me for collectively over 100 years that have reputations. Why wouldn't he do that? But he didn't. He chose to leave. And I could have said, fuck that coin community. And it threw me this morning, and I canceled this morning's podcast and went to this instead because it threw me. I was actually kind of really disappointed, actually, mostly, just super disappointed. And then I woke up in the morning and I cooled off, and X was really weird last night because I made a post last night that was just fucking horrible. I'm not a drama and emotional guy, but I'll just like get it out and then get over it. And I did that, and I hit send, and it said, your post, you have this much time, and it never fucking made it. It didn't make it. And so I was talking to my ex-wife. I'm like, yeah, it never fucking went. And now I'm an hour later into this. I'm wishing I hadn't sent it because I'm all cooled down now. I'm a fighter, and all of a sudden while I'm sitting there, it came up like an hour late, and it said, just up, 0 views, zeros. And I was like, delete. I don't want to be angry at the community. I love the community. I'm going to keep supporting it. I want to invest in it. I want to make it huge. And this fund, the 2 and 20 fund, our guys are going to put the 20% up front of $1 billion right into coin communities. Okay? That's where you're going to get funding. Isn't that cool? And normally that goes to the VC, and the 80% gets invested in the companies, and they create a Keiretsu, which means they're all working together and being funded by the same source, and they're working as a team for all of their victory. We're doing that, but it's the exact opposite. The 80% is going to be owned by the investors, and it's going to sit in the coins representing the people that we're funding. But the 20% is all that's going in that, but it's only $200 million. And if we do this successfully, it's a $5 billion fund, and then it'll be a full $1 billion that's shared. And if we do that successfully, returns will shrink because I think these things are crypto fair value. But all the same, that's $3 billion to go to the coin community. So in total, you're looking at $4.2 billion potentially that could go out to the coin communities if all funds sold out. Well, that's pretty cool, huh? All right. So this guy says he doesn't like me now because I had a coin before. And he told me to take it down. I put up it under construction. And I told him, I got to think about it. And I got to talk to my team. I can't just make a decision. And I got to think what it's going to cost me and how I'm going to unwind it so that nobody gets harmed. And I told him all of this. There were 3 of them in there. I told them all. The other 2 didn't unfriend me. This one did. Shout out to you that didn't unfriend me because now you're hearing the story. And by the way, all these people that I'm mentioning are always open for any of you to talk to them privately about me and ask any questions about me. My reputation with them is you're just fucking solid gold. Solid gold, like my enhanced concealed carry FBI background check. Okay? So if you don't like it, fuck off. That's my opinion. However, it was called to my attention that maybe I'm just working with you coin communities because I just want to build up a community where I can sell my coin and that's where I'm going to profit. Okay. I thought I was pretty clear about this. And I said this to this person, these people. When I started this coin 4 years ago, we didn't have AI. I didn't know what the value of the coin was. And we went through a lot of different pivots trying to figure out what was the value, because what we did figure out is how to keep a fixed coin price on a currency that doesn't just have make-believe value, but has this underlying value of 100 million users. And that was my thesis, or my initial, this is what I think. And where did I get that? From a Google search. I searched on Google, okay? And on Google, it told me 100 million. If you search right now how many owners of Bitcoin, you'll probably get a Google search that says 100 million. So I was good with that. I wrote a book about perfect money. This is the Austrian economics. This is the history of all crypto. This is how every crypto has been created as a commodity which you can barter with, but it's not perfect money because the Austrians were pointing to gold, but gold had a fixed value during the 214-year period they were talking about, and it doesn't anymore. It's now a commodity, which is still great because it's a commodity that is decentralized. It's self-custody. You can send it fractionally for a small price. It's a gorgeous, beautiful thing. We want to invest in that. It's amazing, but it's not perfect money. Perfect money has to have a fixed value. And I won't go into how this was going to work except to say it would be distributed a specific amount, let's say 20,000 coins over 1,000 levels. And that's all that's available for 1,000 levels to get to 19.9 million coins. And those levels, in order to get to each level, you had to increase a little more than 0.5% the total number of actual adopters, actual users downloading wallets and using them and becoming part of this decentralized network. But it was proof of stake, so there was no mining, and there was no mining reward because we pre-mined it. We didn't want mining rewards, and it was 0.00001 as a trading fee, transaction fee, which was then burned. So there was actually slight deflation. Incredible, right? And now you got a fixed price, and it's backed up by this network value backed by 100 million people. And that was my thing. And then if we could get that 100 million people using it, and Bitcoin has 100 million users, then I must be worth as much as Bitcoin. Except mine would actually all have wallets and be actually using it. Okay, that was my premise. I wrote a book around it. And then AI came out. AI came out, by the way, about middle of January. I started looking at it. In the first week of January, I opened it up and boom, we had a bunch of coin sales. People liked the idea. And when I say a lot, 30 grand or something, right? But that, for just an idea, right? And I just hardly even talked about it anywhere. And this was really just my, community doing it. And that's the money I'd have to pay back. No big deal if I do. But I want to say, I shut it all down. Ask my team of 12, who has just been so sad until these last 2 weeks. They've been so sad. Ask any of them. I'll have them on here. They'll tell you it was so sad and that I was so sad because I had to stop it because I was wrong. It's not 100 million. I had to get all the numbers right. And the deeper I got into it, the deeper it went and the more questions I had.
Welcome to the rabbit hole.
The rabbit holes, plural. And so down those holes I went. Yeah. And my team lost track of me. And pretty sure they thought I abandoned the coin. And it didn't move for 5 months, 6 months. Just hasn't. And I was like, guys, what I have discovered here is so much bigger than my coin. What I've discovered here is not the value of my coin. I have found the value of every coin. Let me repeat that because that was my aha moment. At that moment, thanks to Grok AI being my research assistants, plural, I don't know how many AIs they're running back there, I was able to not only understand what crypto has a value of and why it has that value and how to break it down, but it went out there and actually made its best guess, and others have now tested it and they come up with the same guess on the value of any cryptocurrency that's an L1. How powerful. Now we can move from FOMO and FUD to formulas and fundamentals of real metrics. And now we have to measure them. And because of DB's podcast, I met Omni. And because of Omni, or podcast space rather, I met Omni. And because of Omni, I met another gentleman that I'm talking to at 2:30 today. And he's an AI wizard, and he is going to help me get even better numbers that are even more exact. And because we have some white hat hackers on our team now, because of Omni, because of DB, because of Joel introducing me, see how things go, we may get a really good set of numbers. But now at that point, what am I to do? Because I've started this coin, so now I started thinking, okay, let me build those metrics into that coin because that coin is wrong. And it shouldn't be 100 million that it gets to. It should go to 80 million because that's the digital gold standard benchmark that Grok said was the average for December that we're measuring against in value. So I reworked everything, and I had to rewrite the whole white paper, and I had to rewrite the whole book and everything. And I'm thinking, what do I do here? Because I'm going to make so much money off those funds, guys, like so much money. Like if I just do the first one and it goes up 10x and we do $1 billion and it goes to 10 billion, my team makes 2 billion. I don't care what cut of that I get. If it was 1%, that's still $20 million, and it won't be 1%. So fuck. And then multiply it by 5 if I do the next fund, and it gets a 10x out of it, which it could still. I don't think the third one will, and I think the first one will get 20 to 40. So now do math. I don't need a coin. Do you get it? I don't need a coin. I'm a fund manager now with senators around me and the badass motherfuckers of crypto, the OG gods that built all of this, working alongside me now. Okay? I don't need my own coin. So then what do we do with the coin? I've already said how we're going to fund you guys. I already said that. I already said how we're going to create a Karatsu around you. It's already happening. You guys are working together. It's fucking beautiful. When Bitcoin Cash said that the other day, oh my God, was that Callan that said, I think it was Callan, that said, yeah, you know, you could lock up Bitcoin Cash. And I was like, oh my God, for the first time ever, someone just said that they'd work together with another team. Holy shit, it happened, right? That moment. And it just like, boom, right? I'm doing that. Who else is doing that? Might be some copycats coming out now. Okay. And I hope they do, frankly. I hope it goes viral. I hope they all copy me, and a lot of people do this. Who's done the work? Who did this? Who wrote it down, as Mark Andreessen said? Motherfucker, I wrote it down. Okay? This is my fucking house. Okay? And I'm going to take all of these cryptos across the finish line to their crypto fair value. And that's my mission. Do I have a coin? Yeah, I do. Do I have to figure out what I'm going to do with it? Yeah, I do. I will tell you that I had a moment where I thought to myself, maybe what we should do with this coin. It kind of crashed this morning when this guy got upset with me and unfriended me. For a moment, I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this, but I don't know. My thought was, after meeting Yar and some of these most amazing engineers now, that maybe I could put this up as a community coin that could be improved upon Blackcoin's proof of stake work. And where every coin sold, because if we had sold the coin, the whole idea was it would just be spent on marketing and advertising to just keep building until we had 100 million users. It was a simple idea. feed the fire. But what I'm thinking is, and if we'd sold it all, over all the levels, it would have been $142 billion, because it starts at 5 cents, it ends at 100 grand. You know, it starts with 10,000 and it ends at 100 million now, 80 million users. And you're starting where you got 10,000 people dividing 20,000 coins, call it, they each get 2. But when it gets to 100,000, they're each getting 0.2. And at 1 million, they're getting, you get it, right? And so it's getting less and less. And when you get to the whole end of the whole run, if you were there first, you were going to get like 370 coins. That'd be worth $37 million. You'd be like getting in on Bitcoin early. But if you wanted that multiple times, you're limited to how much you can put up on a thing. Now, could you have a bunch of sub accounts and cheat? Yeah, you could. The world works that way. Or better yet, you could plug in actual other computers and do that and put some money on those. It doesn't really make sense to have $3,000 going, though, towards the whole lineup, because your coins go away. I would get more computers and put them here and build up a bigger network. But my thought was that with such brilliant people around, why wouldn't we add Z-Start Privacy? Why wouldn't we do all these and make this a community coin, a fundraising coin, where up to 142 billion that came in would go to these coins? Another thing, and I'd had my developer working on this in the background before this event, was that I thought it would be really fantastic if we could accept the coins, the native coins, at their current crypto fair value. So you're funding an account right now. You want to put $100 on it, right? Right now you can use Google Pay and Apple Pay and Tether and USDC. But I was like, you know what? Alexander's his name. Shout out to Alexander, amazing engineer. I said, why don't you make it so that you can take any of these coins that we're covering, but at their crypto fair value? So if I say that Digibyte's worth $3.35 right now, we'll take it as though it was $3.35, not a penny, and then we'll give 100% of it straight to the wallet of Digibyte, not through us. Like, no, it goes straight to them. We just give the credit here for this coin that's pre-mined that they're earning over levels. And I thought, man, that would be so cool because working with all those lawyers in Roel Campos, I know how to do a non-security offering, if you will, okay, of coins. I know how to do it totally legitimately, legally, in my opinion. And I'd say the opinion of probably 50 lawyers that I worked with, okay, learning this. And the lawyers of these coins that you guys all know the names of, okay? I worked with their lawyers before I got to Roel. By the way, it was my work that went to Chairman Clayton through Roel that said that Bitcoin was a commodity, not a security. And that was my work, I'm sure of it, because it was verbatim what I said after 10,000 hours of working with all of these lawyers. Okay? So I know how to create a compliant coin, and I believe that I have created a compliant proof-of-stake coin that has a fixed value that goes up 1% a month with inflation because the community agrees to that, is pegged from the Explorer. It doesn't have a bid-ask for price discovery, which doesn't matter anyway because my goal is to get everybody off of exchanges, sexes and dexes, and self-custody all of your own coins. And where you're going to make a trade, go through Multiverse or go through the Nintendo wallet if it allows it from Yar or something like that, so that you can just go from your wallet, hard wallet to that hard wallet, right? We're launching Kryptons, by the way. Kryptons is going to be Craigslist ultimately and an eBay, and it's going to be a Amazon stores kind of thing, all in one that just takes crypto. So if I want to sell, I don't know, this guitar or this book, and I want to sell it for Dash or Digibyte, or I'll take any of these coins, I can say which ones or not. Or if I want to buy this, I can spend my Dash or Digibyte or Bells or whatever, right? And I'm building that. We're going to start with a t-shirt shop. It's going to be pretty cool. And we're going to have user input on a bunch of the t-shirts and that. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So I just want you guys to understand that I don't know what to do with this coin. It was called Digital Gold. It was DGD. I don't have it on any exchanges at all because I want it to be spent as money. I don't want people to speculate. It doesn't have price discovery from bid ask. It's the first historic ever to have it from set Explorer. Doesn't mean sexes and dexes won't do their own thing, but I'd want to work with those sexes and dexes to work with the Explorer. Historic, huh? If you think about it. Its value is pegged to, guess what? The CFV. Originally it was 100 million, now it's this. If you go to digitalgoldx.com, you'll see that it's under construction. And that's because I really, really respected the guy that slapped this bullshit in my face today. He didn't come to me as a gentleman or kind. Same thing happened, by the way, guys. I was invited to the Litecoin stage back in May because they were the first ones I showed this to Omid and Rachel and Craig. And then I was suddenly told in a text that they weren't allowed to talk to me anymore. And then I was told, well, they can talk. No one tells them that they can't talk for themselves, but they're not going to talk to me. And they just shut me off. Why? Because of that fucking bullshit that was online from those motherfuckers from 2017-18. Okay? They didn't go to me and say, hey, John, do you have anybody else that was involved in this, like the former SEC commissioner, lawyer, or these House members and senators or any team members? Because I could have given them hundreds of years worth of people that have known me, combined years, right? But they didn't. They instead took that word of anonymous trolls. So now I get it. I understand the relationships, and I understand why this guy dragged out some bullshit this morning. But his approach was so juvenile, and it was so exactly like the other's approach. Master BTC LTC. I know who you are, motherfucker. You got banned from X, and you're the guy that started the shit, that they should look at this background shit. That was you. I get it. I understand you. Juvenile, bro. You could have come to me and asked me. No cojones? Cojones? Not Spanish speaking. You got no balls, bro. You got no balls, bro. Bring it to me and ask a question like a man, and I will give you references. You don't talk shit like a little school bitch. Get someone kicked off the playground. Cunt. Okay? What you're doing is hurting the whole crypto community. Doesn't hurt me. I'm fine, but look at this, boy. I live on the beach, boy. You see that? The beach. I don't need my own coin. Fuck you. But when you start tearing down the crypto community and its total potential because you got little bitch pants on instead of coming and talking to me, I have a big problem with that. Good news is I'm forgiven. That's the good news. I forgive you because you know now what you're doing. You're hurting progress. I was going to give this coin as a gift to everybody next month, and you spoiled it. I had to put a construction sign on it, and I had to address it because I don't let things linger. Any of you out there want to talk to my homies? I told you who they are. You'll see them on Sunday, every Sunday. Those are my homies. We don't break the law. We write the law. Mic drop. I got to go. Hope you guys share this. We had a great week. I'm going to end it on a positive note. Great week. And you got a warrior at the helm. You better know that. Okay? You got a warrior at the helm because we're an army now. We're not just the, Multiverse X army. We're not. We're not just the Bitcoin Cash army. No, no, no. We're not just Digibyte Dash army. We're not just Zec army. No, we're not Bell's army. We're not Litecoin army. We're not Doge army. Sorry if I missed any of you. Blackcoin army. We're an army. We're the army. We set the rules now. We have a consortium. We have the first self-regulating organization. We have the policymakers on our side. We are dictating what goes forward. Together, all of us. That's who we are, okay? Because I am you now. I am just one of you. I'm the first dancer. Someone else was the second dancer, then the third. And now we have a fucking party. And I'm not going to stop this party. I'm going to progress it. I'll see you guys Friday. We're doing Zec. I'm excited. They had almost 6,000 views of their last pod. Fucking legends. All right? Omni, I'll catch up with you later. Sorry I didn't let you talk much, bro. Everybody, share this podcast. Get it out there far and wide. I want everybody to know where I am. I don't know what I'm going to do with the coin. I'm still going to give it to the communities to decide what they want to do before I do anything with that coin. But it is a way for you guys to raise billions of dollars on top of the money that I'm going to be getting you when I go out there and work my ass off to get those funds so that I can make more money than I ever imagined possible in 10 years when those things mature and you guys have done what God intended you to do, and you are all money that is accepted everywhere. Amen. See you guys.